Cursory headset check here. Well, check.
Let's do it.
The anthem kicks us off. It's a brand new season here on the farm, and the Cardinal have a new coaching staff, bunch of new personnel, and new wrestlers as well. We'll take you through all of it. My name is Chris Fitzgerald. I'm alongside for yet another season, Brahman Creighton. It's my pleasure always, Brahman. And it's not every day you get to work, for, at least in my shoes, with a guy who gets conspicuous phone calls like the one you just got and had to ignore. But man, it's just every time I talk to you, I learn something new. I get insight on someone, something in the wrestling world that's just tantalizing.
Well, thanks so much, Chris. It's a pleasure to be back. It's awesome to be part of Coach Ayers' era. And yeah, I just got a phone call from the great Jerry Abbas. He's Jaden's father. And obviously he's here rooting him on. He's actually going to be running a clinic this afternoon for the RTC. Here we go. He's going to run out.
Oh, wow. This is new.
Yes.
Smoke, and it's like a old school 90s wrestling entrance. I mean, they do this in the Midwest.
We did this all the time at UNO. Coach Ayers is bringing a little flair to these duels. It'd be nice to have some more people here to see it, but this is an awesome start. They wrestled Duke last week. And they shut Duke out 41-0. I don't think it was very competitive. A good start for the Ayers era.
Facing Nebraska, Kearney, the Lopers. And a lot of the turnover at Stanford is due to people graduating, and so it's not all people jumping ship. It's in fact just people aging out. The way that COVID rearranged the college sports landscape, so many people negotiated a red shirt such that they hit their mid-20s and hit their fifth year on the back end of a career that was kind of stubbornly from 2020 to 2022, let's say, put on hold. Now, we're kind of finally seeing a little bit of a picture of guys who got to contiguously wrestle in one way or another. They didn't necessarily get shut out at the high school level, because of those COVID years. So you just get two different types of people now hitting the college ranks. Everyone at the Division I level figured out a way to wrestle every day during COVID to the best of their abilities. And so that's a real topic of conversation, at least when I talk to wrestlers, but Stanford certainly has a bunch of guys who are battle-hardened and ready, and it's nice to see a couple of changes, like the entrance we just saw, and the crowd will filter in. It's such a nice day here on the farm. For whatever reason, when Burnham Pavilion's the venue and not Maples, people show up a little on the later side.
Yes, well, you said a lot there. I think the COVID time period has really made this an interesting time in college wrestling. I think it's an interesting time in college sports with the transfer portal and the NIL deals. Kids have a lot more options. It's way more student-centered, I think. And these coaches are put in a situation where they are basically recruiting their own guys back every year just to keep them because they have so many options and they can leave so easily. I know most coaches don't like it, and I don't know why they would.
I mean, you're running a completely different organization than you used to run. That's just the name of the game.
And then when it comes to the COVID stuff, you got guys that have actually been wrestling for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Jaden Abbas, he's 23. He's got a whole nother year left after this year, and he's already been here for 5 years. So that's a lot of wrestling. Some of these guys if they graduate, they're choosing to move on, or they're choosing to get their degree and go on to a different school. That's kind of what happened with Real and with our national champion, Shane Griffith, who now Shane is at the University of Michigan.
And now you see it plastered all over. You used to just not see this stuff on, dare I say it, social media. Guys weren't publicizing every little thing about their day. They were keeping social media kind of to their personal lives and themselves. Now with the name, image, likeness stuff, if you go to Michigan, let's say, that's on your social media. You're trying to promote a little bit yourself and kind of try to make the news yourself. Just a different era. It's neither good nor bad, but man, it's not what I am used to.
Well, it's definitely the future. These guys are all their own individual brands now, and they can actually make money, and it's not illegal and doesn't affect their amateur status, so that's a big deal.
Almost like my personal brand, Brahman.
Right.
The personal brand coming soon. We are at 125 pounds. Zack and Nico Provo, and Provo has the favorable position to start.
Yeah, Nico's definitely the favorite in this match. Nico's ranked 23rd in Division One right now. Had a good weekend last weekend. Nico's very offensive. Gotten to know this young man pretty well in the last couple years. Um, he was part of Rob's first recruiting class, Coach Cole.
He's reaching a bit, but then he sucks the arm back in, almost like it's a bluff with the right foot forward. Changing levels, there's a good shot. He's going to finish that every time. There it is, too.
Just a straight inside step, double leg. He blasted him, got a hold of the legs. Nico's doing a good job of pumping and hitting. I can see the maturity in his movement. I think last year he had some issues with his weight. Looks like he's got his weight more under control, and he looks strong.
He looks like a big 125 to me, but, you know, just everyone's so good at cutting these days.
Yeah, well, this Stanford kid, I think that's Stanford, the Kearney kids. I had a chance to watch them yesterday at San Francisco State. They have a big team. Those kids, they all look kind of big and long, and pretty strong. Not real dynamic from what I saw, but I didn't get to see every match. Here's Nico in this we call front end top position. He's got an underhook with his left. He's going to try to blow through that. Ends up on the other leg. He's going to want to stand up with that leg. Now you see this little game as they hand fight, as the Carney wrestler works the hand. Nice. Call that he just sat him on his butt. Call it he ran the pipe. Put him right on his butt.
Good chain wrestling to get there, too. Tried a couple of different things. Really only was rejected in one of the looks that he gave, but it was what he got the first initial takedown on, so he's up to 4 on the scoreboard.
He's doing a good job shooting his intended shot. Then when they stop you, or when they try to stop you, well, you're able to just wrestle through that position, right?
Yep. Then on the half. Yeah, last season he showed glimpses of like a power half when he was behind someone, and he could kind of taxi his feet around such that the weight transfer gave the guy on the bottom a hard time. This season, maybe a bit of a different look, but he's tight on top.
Well, the main difference from this season, I think we're still getting used to it, because I'm not even looking at the score here, but it's 3 points for a takedown, which that is just huge. I mean, that literally changes the game.
Completely different game.
And puts the whole, the emphasis back on the neutral wrestling, which is, I think that's what people want to see. They want to see action on your feet. They want to see high-level takedowns. This particular ride position he's putting on, we call it like a near a wrist, a ankle ride. And Vincenzo brought this stuff to the farm, and so he's using it. But referees are starting to call this stalling a lot faster. So there's a little bit of de-emphasizing of riding now, because to get the riding time point, you actually have to turn the man, get some count of back points.
So kind of in terms of rules changes, and I don't know if you want to call it a rules change.
Yeah, it's definitely a rule change.
It's a scoring change such that, I mean, everything they kind of did everything at once, feels like.
Well, and that's true. And there's a lot less.
Like you don't see that nearly as often in the past.
I think wrestling had kind of changed to more mat wrestling, especially as they added more near fall opportunity, and now we're back to seeing higher level wrestling on our feet. The rules are a bit controversial because there's 3 points for a takedown, but we're still only giving 2 points for reversal.
Right.
I think some people see that as a problem, but nonetheless, it's emphasizing takedowns.
Bit of a scoring conundrum there, but yeah, I mean, it's going to completely change the way wrestling works. The number of optional starts that you're going to see is just going to go way up.
Yeah, I wish we were in a position to see the scoreboard. We're really not, but it's 6-2 right now. Nico's got 1:34 of riding time. He's pumping. I think he could take him down again here this period.
Got a more squared stance here. He was right foot forward to start. Trying for the arm drag was Urata, but he was kind of sagging his hips a bit.
Well, these Carney guys were pretty defensive yesterday. Most of them were kind of squared up. I know their coach, Dalton Jensen, he was a Division II NCAA champion. He actually made the finals twice, lost to a wrestler from my alma mater, UNO. Mario Morgan beat him one of those years. But he was an ankle pick guy himself, so it's not surprising to see these guys on the collar tie. But they're pretty squared up. They look pretty defensive.
Clearly, it's it's funny when behind or when being defensive. Sometimes guys will just hone in on one movement. There's just
that's a very nice, just an inside step, blast double. He didn't blast him with the head and the chest. But he's more of a conventional finish. Great shot. His body drove through. He let that momentum in his hip take him all the way through the man. 2 points, 3 points.
Isn't that takes some getting used to?
Yeah.
It's almost a tongue twister. 3-point takedown.
Well, for so long in wrestling, we go, that's two, and now we got to say that's 3. 9-2 off of 3 takedowns.
And the late arriving crowd is in fact arriving, and usually once the duel has started, it's the casuals showing up, but a couple of guys who clearly wrestle walking in. So it's just a late arriving crowd at Stanford in general in the early season, and that's okay. They'll be here.
They got a lot going on the farm today. They had a clinic this morning. Chris Caldwell came back. He was a member of the RTC. He ran something this morning. And then Jerry Abbas is going to be running an RTC practice this afternoon, so that's exciting. So far, this Carney guy, this is a good hard club. There's his first shot. He shot with his head down. Nico, great job on that far ankle, knocked him down with his hip. This is a common scramble position here when we're on the far ankle. Nico's going to want to get his head back up. The loper is doing a good job keeping the foot elevated, but not really improving his position. Nico's bumping in with his hips. That's what he wants to do, and eventually he's going to get his head up. Don't want to stay there. Now he's probably looking for a stalemate. Nico wants to get his knees up underneath him and keep wrestling. He's got that foot bent in a pretty awkward position. I'm surprised the referee is letting him hold on to that toe like that. All right, there's some improvement. Nico's still wrestling. He knows where he's at here. He's going to reset that right knee. Got to reset that right knee. This looks like a stalemate. They're still wrestling. Okay, now he should just scrape him off. The Kearney wrestler has stopped improving. If you notice, his laces are fouled. So now you call the stalemate? No, they just started to wrestle there. That's like, I guess the referee got bored.
That was a weird one. And there's 18 seconds left.
Yeah, that didn't make much sense.
And it wasn't a stalemate position. I mean, if anything, they were in a potentially dangerous position, 20 seconds before.
With the angle of his knee and his toe right there, I thought that was a little potentially dangerous. But
I mean, if you're the guy holding the shoe and the knee is at an awkward angle and you've got the guy, you don't really want to do what the Kearney wrestler did and make it look like you're playing around with it. You kind of want to act like it's an afterthought.
I don't know if you need much acting. You just keep improving and go win the position. When you start holding, you're not wrestling. Okay, and I'm excited to see this kid. This kid is Tyler Knox. He's a freshman. He's wrestling Drew Arnold from Kearney. Tyler Knox is a freshman. He's from the Boston area. I was surprised to hear that he actually beat Jackson Desario out of the starting lineup, and he teched him.
Wow, and he's all offense here in the early going.
Yeah, lefty lead, low single there. Coaches are raving about his ability to scramble. They say I think Coach Deacon called him Houdini today.
I mean, he very voluntarily put himself into a scramble right off the bat.
Well, I think that guy tried to scramble, and he knew where he was and took the position away. There's 2. He's got to get the weight forward. Not 2. There's 3. You got to drive that weight forward.
Got that backpack position, power half. Crunches that elbow. Just.
Well, I think he scored some points on top when he beat Jackson off the varsity position.
Wow.
And Jackson Desario has been around forever. He's a seasoned senior, strong. So if this freshman's beating him like that, there's a maturity gap there too. This guy's got some talent.
Got the 2-on-1 hooks in.
He's got 2 boots in, but he's on his butt. It looks like he's looking to tilt. I would want my hips on top if I was him.
This is kind of your feedback for not only young guys, but in general, that when you get to the college level, especially at D1, that you just have to be bread and butter, have the boots then, and not let guys kind of taxi up on you and turn you over.
Well, you just got to understand there's a better, if you're on your butt, you don't, your weight is not on your opponent, right? So you want to get the weight back on your opponent. There's always you're just constantly improving until you got the guy pinned.
Almost had the bar in there. He's working on it. He's got complete hand control. Just a clinic right now from the freshman Knox.
He's up to a minute 22 of riding time already. The 3-0 lead, and they just put on two near fall. Now he's in a position to take advantage of that riding time point. He got back points, which he's already got riding time.
You want to see a freshman be as cognizant of that as an upperclassman. You mentioned the mat maturity, something to watch for.
This guy's obviously done a lot of wrestling before he got to the college level, so for a freshman to be in here competing like this is very impressive.
He was a little high there on the back, but he had complete hand control. I mean, that's just like signs of someone that's used to just dominating people.
Well, he's got a mean power half here, too. And you typically don't see freshmen coming in being that good on top. That takes a little while to develop. There's so much strength. He's cranking it over now. He should be able to get the fall. He should jump his legs out and get chest to chest. Jump that leg out. You got to keep that leg in. He could get this fall a little easier if he just floated his hips to the far side. He's trying to get like a chin whip position. That was close. This kid's not messing around. Tyler Knox.
The way he scraped his knee kind of across the belly to initiate that back, those back points, I mean, it looks synonymous with someone who's been doing this for 3-4 years at the college level.
Oh, nice little elevator there. You see that? He tried to side roll and elevate. Elevator's old school skill. I see it again. This guy likes to grapple.
Yeah, he looks.
When I say grapple, I mean as wrestling down on the mat. We call it grappling.
Yep.
Now he's going to turn, going to reach, and get his hips out. That's an easy reversal. This Kearney team, I think, is down for where they typically are in Division II. They typically are like a top 5, type 8 team. They're ranked 18th right now. They only have a few ranked wrestlers in Division II, so this isn't the toughest Kearney team we've seen. There he is again. He's going to punch that power half. He should jump his hips over and get this match over with.
One of the real differences you see as people grow in the college or at the college levels, you just see a lot of added strength.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, we're looking at a young man that he looks to be pretty, I guess, filled out would be the term you'd use. He's good pressure, tight movements, so even in areas where maybe he's not going to out-muscle someone, he's just tight on top.
Well, he wrestled for a prep school in Massachusetts, so it's possible that he's a year older than your typical freshman, if not more, but he's doing a great job. The Carney wrestler is a redshirt sophomore, so this is his 3rd year. He's out of Blue Springs, Nebraska, Beatrice, which is that's Class B, Nebraska, a small population state. He probably was a state champion in high school. That's a tech fall for this freshman. I guess that's what he does. Wow, that's impressive. 16-0 with majority of those points coming on top.
Going to see a lot more techs with the new scoring as well.
Man, I'm impressed with this kid. Coaches love him. Okay, here we go. Now Jackson, who was beat out at 133, is now up at 41. A little undersized from a height standpoint at 141, but he's so stinking strong. Pretty confident he can win this match. Opponent, Nick James. I remember Nick James. Nick James is from Kearney High School. He wrestled for Kearney High School. He's got to be close to being done.
Unsettled situation.
Nick James is a redshirt senior, so this is his 5th year. Jackson on that outside ankle. And what he can do is he can actually take his foot and whip the guy's shoulder and pull him to his back from this position. There, it looks like he wants to do it. Well, now James is in a better position. Jackson's got to elevate that foot and get up. No, he's giving the three. Giving the free. James needs to drive the weight forwards. He's on his butt pulling. You got to be driving there, and he's in a position to get reversed. Jackson is pretty good in these reversal situations. That was pretty close to being 1 and 2. He's only going to get a reversal here, so 2. So you actually lost a point on that exchange because it was a 3-point takedown versus a 2-point reversal.
And that kind of brings into question the exact scoring conundrum that I think we talked about on air.
Yes. Yes, it makes sense why coaches would want to have a 3-point reversal, and then you're not de-emphasizing the mat wrestling quite as much.
Right.
He's got his legs tied up. This is a funky position. James didn't do a good job defending himself. He needed to push Jackson's knees off and pull his knees back to his chest so he can get in a position to defend himself.
Somehow the crowd is about 150% bigger than when.
Well, what I think happened is the clinic ended and they just came from the clinic.
That's fair point. Almost for sure that's what happened.
Rolling half right there with Jackson. That was almost near fall. You got to be careful there. You're on your back too, Jackson. They're
wow, he got lucky.
He
got very lucky.
Defensive fall there. Jackson knew where he was.
And James, if he turned the other direction, was kind of on top.
Yeah.
But for some reason, rolled out to the right. And now it's.
Just looks like he's getting overmatched in this mat wrestling. I believe James won his match yesterday against San Francisco State. With that rolling, watch your back, Jackson. Okay, gave up 2.
He kind of like locks his. He just locks down positions in such a way that you can get reversed like that.
Well, he didn't expose the Carney wrestler's back enough, and he kind of stopped there. Okay, and he gave up. I think it's also a result of him being a little short for this weight class too. See, James is able to step all the way over him.
Right.
He doesn't deal with these length problems as much at 133 pounds. He's going to get this reversal. Both guys getting out of position on top a little bit.
Desario, the much more mobile-looking wrestler from all positions.
This is his 5th year of college wrestling at the Division I level. And he's got really, really good workout partners. I think his partners are probably better than the Carney wrestlers.
Yep. So most of the late arriving crowd I mentioned did get to see Tyler Knox wrestle, and that's going to inflate the number of attendees to future duels, let me tell you.
That's good stuff. I think he's going to be a star for a long time for the Cardinal. A little side roll attempt. Whenever you reach underneath for a claw ride, you're always a little susceptible for somebody winging you down and trying to knock you to your hip and potentially kick over you. Ooh, boot scoot. Haven't seen that in a while. Seen that in a while. Old school. Talking about boot scoot. That's Lincoln McAravey. Lincoln is who beat our friend Jerry Abbas in the finals in 1993 at 142 pounds. Lincoln was a freshman there. He made that boot scoot pretty popular for a while. See, Jackson keeps pulling the guy on top of himself. That's dangerous.
I don't quite understand what it adds. I mean, he tries to throw in a power half here. Is there just a position he needs to be in to throw that in?
He's trying to get exposure here and get back points and just crank him back. But he's going straight back as opposed to taking James to his shoulder. And I'm going to show your back to the mat. I'm not going to show my back to the mat. I'm going to show your back to the mat.
But James has been pretty reasonable in the scramble positions that involve Desario being on his back.
Yeah. Well, he's reversed him twice already, so both guys are a little out of position.
And meanwhile, despite what the scoreboard says, I do think Desario from neutral has been, at least he's looked stronger.
Well, he got taken down and then he got a reversal, so he didn't hit an offensive skill to get the takedown, or he doesn't have a takedown, and there he gets reversed again. See. He's too comfortable on his butt. That's the bottom line. Too comfortable on his butt. James looking to ride this period out. The score is 13-7. Jackson. So those back points have been piling up. Well, with the 3-point takedown, you can close the gap so quickly.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not really out of a match as much as you were back in the day.
Yeah.
Especially if you're good on your feet. Jackson starting on the right side. Back to his butt again. And he gets his weight back up. This is very popular in college wrestling is we call a sit back, or being able to get to your butt so the weight is not on you. If both guys are sitting on their butt, now the weight's 50-50. There's Jackson on his back again. I don't know how many times he's going to make the same mistake.
He's not completely flat, but just a little more flat than you're allowed to be at this level when he's on his back.
Well, I can empathize with him. He's up a weight class. He's not. This guy
Right.
feels huge to him.
Right.
He's
So
not used to this length. He's not used to this weight class.
Maybe he was dynamic enough that at the lower weight class, it was just fine to be that on your back.
Well, Jackson's really strong for 133 pounds.
Yep.
And that's one of his strengths is he's just physically strong. So he's going to handle those 133 pounders a lot easier. It's 14-12 now, or 15-12. Nate James just cut him. He gets to get this takedown. Okay, that should do it right there. Now, if he's to ride tough and stay in good position, this match should finish 19-12. He's got that outside. We used to call that a Stanford vine back in the day. Steve Buddy, old Stanford coach, really liked that position. Like the leg is inside out as opposed to inside out as opposed to outside in.
Is that more of a kind of lockdown position?
It's definitely an esoteric ride. I would say it's not as conventional. There he is on his side and back again. Now you want to give up the Jiminy Christmas. Come on, Jackson. Oh,
It's kind of
haven't seen
little
that
bit
before. Wow.
little bit of gamesmanship here.
Well, that's not a good look.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. The problem is if you do that to someone else on your side's getting their head bounced off the mat.
That would make me upset.
I mean, that's just not something you want to do as you're getting to the heavier weights, too.
All
We
right.
got Peter Ming coming up.
We get one of our favorite guys, Jaden Abbas. He's ranked 10th in the country right now. Jaden, as always, puts on a show, especially at home. I know his dad's in the building. He's ready to go. He's wrestling John Berger from UNK. Nice. He loves those cross picks. He does that 2-on-1 where he pulls the 2-on-1 off in front. Nice shot. Needs to stand up with that. Far hip. Easy money.
So tight on the back.
And so see right here, he should be driving. Right now he's kind of just hanging. Just driving the guy. Now you're in good position.
Making Berger carry his weight. Seems like he was just trying to understand the weight transfers a little better for a minute there as he sagged his own hips.
Well, I think he was feeling that ankle ride too, whether he was going to slip that ankle ride on.
Yep.
I like that these guys are riding on the right side. That's a good thing to do as a high school wrestler, is to get used to riding on the right. Your opponents are typically used to you riding on the left side. That's where most of your moves come from. So a right side ride throws some confusion into your opponent. Right. Oh, nice step behind attempt.
Very, very good step behind attempt, and it got about 80% of the way there. But just a good stance, good balance from Jaden.
Jaden's position was too good for that to happen.
Yep. You talked about it, Brahman, the importance of just stance in general, and then weight transfers, and for a guy like Jaden, that's going to be second nature. Think of the lineage.
Yeah. Well, in general, coaches don't work on stance enough. They think that we have that. Something the great John Smith said once is your stance. You're never going to perfect your stance. And to me, that's huge. Something you're constantly working on.
From a guy who, however many years later, still kind of walks around in his stance. It's one of my favorite things about John.
We got a 3-1 score here right now. We already got a minute of riding time. I could hear Coach Ayers, the new head coach, jump up and say, cut him. He wants to see Jaden just a little harder on his feet. This guy is stalling. These referees are typically looking for 3 attacks to 1 before they actually will hit somebody with stalling.
Yep. Got a John Smith story for you after this match.
One more shot, we get a stalling call for sure. 24.
Fluid stance switches from both guys. This has been maybe the most connoisseurs match thus far.
Jaden loves that front 2-on-1. There it is.
Oh, what a shot. If he finishes this from the parking lot.
Well, he's got his hands. I don't like the way he had his hands locked there. Yeah, he was kind of overlapping with his hands. It wasn't a true lock, and his head was underneath. These Carney guys are, they're not as athletic as our Cardinal athletes, but they're strong and they're stubborn and they stay in pretty decent position. So they can make it hard for you.
You don't see the finger kind of interlace really have.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. Yeah, it's not definitely not coached.
Jaden came right up there, pretty easy stand up. You know, this is like practice right now. You know, but the best type of practice you can get is during a live match. Jaden should be working on his stuff, trying to separate the score.
He looks focused, but as the kids would say, he looks also pretty chill.
Yeah, well,
not really in danger anywhere.
See Dad over there in the corner. He's into the match. Okay, wrestle.
Got to get out of bounds.
Another opportunity to practice right here.
Yep.
He wants to get weight on his foot. Carney switched it to the outside. Now he's splitting Jaden's legs, which is not ideal where you want to be. It's going to be hard. Oh, don't you go down for that. You wrestle there. That's a takedown. That's 2. That's 3. And Jaden's still holding the leg. Don't know why. He needs to go ahead and improve right now. Let go of that. Get your knee through. This is similar. When you got a Turk, you got to get that knee. Now he's got his position back.
A win there for John Berger. That was a great takedown.
That was a good takedown. He was patient, too, and it was right on the edge.
Even with the leg elevated, maybe half his options or right around there were off the table just because of the mat position. He still got the takedown against a very tough guy. So some glimmers here for Nebraska Kearney for sure.
Jaden looks like he's one of the hardest workers. Got no conditioning. His conditioning is good, but sometimes it gets psychosomatic, and your emotions get involved, and then you get tired when you're really not tired. So anytime you give up a takedown, and I can guarantee you he didn't plan on giving up that takedown today, it makes you a little nervous, get a little tired.
Sometimes there's just not much substitute for having walked out there thousands of times, which all these guys have. But, you know, every additional time you walk out on that mat to compete is just, it matters.
100%. That's so well said. You know, I always say it takes about 20 matches in the season before you really know how you want to feel. You know what you want to eat, how you want to warm up, what skills you want to hit, your psychological warm-up as well as your physical warm-up. All those things get honed in, and it takes about 20 matches before you really are hitting your stride in your season. So they're nowhere near that 20-match mark yet, so they'll get better.
One of my favorite quips I heard from a tough D1 guy was I asked him, you feel ready every single time you go out there? And he said, I never feel ready, but I do feel like I'm next when it's my turn. I thought that was interesting. You know, some guys, they may never feel perfectly at peace before they go wrestle, but you just have to have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 matches in your life, and then you're just next. That's what it is.
That's neat. I can dig that. I think ready is a relative term.
Right.
Yeah, you want to feel ready, but just because you're anxious does not mean you're ready.
Yeah, I'm not asking if you're ready. And he said, I'm not ready, but it is my turn. And that's kind of an interesting thought. Jaden's shown a number of different looks and has really been thoughtful about his positioning on top, with the one blemish of that takedown and maybe a couple of shots that got away from him. He's really been in the driver's seat.
Well, what I'd like to see these guys do in the top position is drive more with their legs and their hips. They're kind of hanging back and pulling, where they're pulling weight on top of them. And Jaden gives up an escape there with 5 seconds left in the period. And that's the match. I'd like to see him finish on top. That's a little close. So you get a 6-5 victory. Not necessarily what we're looking for out of a staunch senior, somebody who's a team leader and, pretty offensive guy on his feet. All right, now we're moving on to Daniel Cardenas. Daniel, this is his sophomore year. Daniel was a Pac-10 champion last year. One match away from placing at the NCAA tournament. Daniel is a buzzsaw.
Facing Nick Stoltenberg.
Nice scramble, outside ankle there. Looks like they've spent some time in the room on this. Good whizzer. That's what happens when you try to change off on that low single too fast, as they can get to like a hip whizzer. No points here. Great wrestling here in the first couple seconds. Daniel looked really poised there as he fought that off. He's already into cut and release. And this guy looks broken already.
Yeah, but it didn't make much of an effort. Stoltenberg had the opportunity to get up, and I think he liked the shot that he had where he got, first second wizard, not last second wizard. He's probably not used to that.
Ooh, nice. Daniel putting some things together. Good hips. He's just so stinking physical and strong. I see a tech fall here.
I mean, he's trying to score points off letting the guy up, and he may well do so.
Well, that's kind of a Penn State thing, too. I'm sure Chinzo worked on that when they looked to intentionally cut the guy, and then they jumped to a near side cradle.
So in California, in high school, just especially around here, not that it's poor wrestling, and in the Bay Area it's fine in some ways, but it's not Gilroy. It's not Clovis. It's not, down south.
Nice shot there. Nice shot. Well, I mean, Gilroy's just outside the Bay Area, and they're obviously the cream of the crop for our Central Coast section.
Right. So what you'd see in the Peninsula Athletic League, which is basically from not even San Jose, but just Santa Clara up to San Francisco, you'd see guys that didn't even know that if someone was giving them the optional start, that in fact they could score points on you. And, I'm sure that one of the nice things, I'm just like, you probably helped kids to take advantage of that, I would imagine.
On this roll through tilt.
Wow, he's going to get it too.
That was good. I love the way he set that up. He went one way and got the guy to fight down, and then snatched him right back into a tilt position.
Getting
really good stuff.
Getting entirely perpendicular and never carrying the other guy's weight. I think that's a big part of the movement on top.
Daniel's up 13-2 right now. He's got a minute and a half of riding time already. Looking for an assassin here. Assassin, where you do this reverse grip on the front headlock and you jump across the guy's body and pull him to his back, and it chokes him, basically. Yep. It's a choke move.
In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they call it a Peruvian necktie, and it's nice. It's a very close to that movement. You put both legs over, you can put a guy to sleep in less than 5 seconds.
Daniel's out here working in the top position right now. Roll through tilt again. That's a difficult move to stop, that roll through tilt, especially if you got a monster grip like Daniel Cardenas. That's a 17-2 tech fall for the Cardinal.
I'll ask you. I
remember the Stoltenberg kid too. Actually, my son wrestled this kid.
Oh wow!
He wrestled for school was that Scott Catholic. Scott Catholic. He was a Nebraska state champion.
Oh wow!
Couple-time state champion in Nebraska. My son wrestled him at the Doc B. Kid was a sophomore.
Okay.
That was a big win for us.
Wow. Now it's Caden Hart for Nebraska Kearney and Zack Hansen.
Zack Hansen is filling in for Hunter Garvin, who's is a little banged up right now. Hansen is a 57-pounder naturally, so he's up a weight class here too. You can see the size difference between these two kids.
Stanford pitching a shutout, now halfway through the duel. Team score looking mighty fine.
Love watching Daniel cool down after the match. He's over there conditioning. Just beat a guy up 17-2, and he's continuing to work out. That's how you win.
He's sweating, but it's as if he started sweating with the post workout.
He didn't work up much of a sweat on the mat, which is even more reason to go do some extra conditioning.
Right. You get your body ready to compete. You kind of want to compete.
These guys are pretty young guys. This is Zack Hansen. He's a freshman. I didn't see what he did there. What did he do?
Head on the inside single, and then just turned his head, cranked it, and turned to the near side. Easy points. Or made it look easy. Didn't really have to elevate the leg too much. Just simple bread and butter.
Jaden Hart. Don't have much information on him. He's not ranked in Division II. Do believe he won his match yesterday. No, actually, he lost. I watched this guy. He wrestled a friend of mine's son, Kyle Bathello. Kyle wrestled for Burlingame High School, which is a PAL high school, and so he's doing a great job at San Francisco State. He was wrestled in 26, I think, as a senior in high school. Now he's all the way up at 165. He spent some time in the weight room, and it shows.
Sometime. What do you mean sometime? Did he ever leave the weight room?
Yeah, he looks good, and he beat this guy from Kearney, Jaden Hart. He beat him in, I think it was overtime yesterday in the last-second takedown.
Really, 26-65. I need to work on my my macros. I needed some insight.
Well, that's been 4 years ago now, so he's been out of high school for a while, and in a college weight room. Oh, nice little bump drag there.
Cool shot.
Yeah, bump drag. Very McElravy-esque. He needs to transfer that foot to the inside. So his right hand needs to come down. He's going to try to twist it. You don't go down to the mat before your opponent.
Man, it was
that's how Zack was able to stop that takedown.
It was such a clean initial shot.
Yeah, it was. You don't see too many bump drags. When I say bump drag, the guy had his wrist. He dragged off of it and tried to scoop the inside ankle with your foot as you step in, and you actually go to your butt. And then the bump part is you try to bump them down with your elbow.
There's a lot of moving parts involved in that.
There's another elevator attempt. That's I like to see that stuff come back into college wrestling.
Pretty good and flattened out here. Is Jaden Hart.
So he's got that hand. He needs to push and get back to his base. Pull your knee to your chest.
Hansen's got hand control here on top. Let it go.
This freshman looks pretty decent. You know, he's definitely competing. I'd like to see what else he has on his feet.
Nice job scooping the knee in to really solidify that hand control on the right-hand side.
He doesn't have it yet.
Spoke too soon. He had it. He was in the neighborhood.
Nice knee slide to a stand-up hand control. That was good stuff. But then as soon as he got away, he let Zack, who's a three-point take on the edge. You got to love the edge scores. He let Zack come right back and re-engage him and get the pressure back into him.
That's a great shot. The Stanford bench and the crowd all yelled 2. They're still getting used to it.
Right.
2. Up 1 second.
So
3.
Zack Hansen looked to his corner for some instructions on, do I let this guy up?
Yeah.
Do I keep riding on top? He hasn't gotten any back point. There's back point.
Wow.
I called it out right there. You should pin him right there. Go ahead and pin him. I'd cover the head. There it is. Pinfall. Way to go, freshman. Coaches got to love that. Kid stepping in.
I think Caden Hart tried to put his weight back into it, him, and it was just a little Olay play, like a matador movement to turn it into back points.
Absolutely. He was not aware of his body position as he pushed back too much while he's sitting on his butt. Easy suck back and a fall. Okay, 174 here. We're all waiting to see Lorenzo Norman. But Norman is not wrestling today, so Stanford's going to give him a forfeit at 174. Lorenzo Norman is this phenom freshman. The coaches can't say enough. Coach Cole, when he was recruiting this guy, I don't think I saw him more excited about a single kid than Lorenzo Norman. So,
wow.
Hopefully we get to see him this year.
Yeah.
He's still figuring out whether he's going to redshirt or not. Now we're at 184. This is Jack Dara for the Cardinal.
Dylan Vidichka.
Great pronunciation, Coach.
Probably a Czech name, if I had to guess.
Jack Dara has had some battles with Brooke Byers for the starting position. I'm kind of surprised that Brooke is not out there. But Jack had a heck of a summer of wrestling. Nice cutoff.
I want to have that kind of shoulder mobility. Can I get that back?
I don't think so.
When you get older, I don't think it gets better. That's a great, I mean, Jack had to reach all the way back, kind of like circumnavigate the mat with his right arm to turn that into 3.
Jack Dara was like a blue chip high school wrestler. He went to Wyoming Seminary in Pennsylvania. If you know anything about Wyoming Sim, it's one of the best high schools you can wrestle for in the country. Actually, my good buddy Cornell Robinson is the head coach there.
Oh, wow.
Jack needs to reset his knees and start to get his head up. They've spent some time on that outside foot, on that outside ankle. That was nice by the Kearney wrestler. He was split. His legs were split. Now he got both legs. I call 2 legs to the same side. He's got an opportunity to wrestle through that position. As long as he's split, he's at a disadvantage.
And when Vidichka did kind of high step over the top, he was tight, and it was like a movement he'd done thousands of times, and it's kind of an esoteric movement. So good point there, Brahman.
Dara's got a little bit better head position as he's taking ground. Got that 2-on-1. Little sit trip there if he wants it, if he knows this skill. Right there. I like to actually bait this position with a Russian tie, stick my head underneath and bait him to go over the top, and then you sort of sit, kick, and you can actually throw him with the arm.
You end up not falling back to your butt, but it's a
you step and square and trip all at the same time.
Angle, trip, follow. Interesting too, because they were right on the kind of side edge of the mat. It was maybe the only option from there, something like
right,
that.
Yeah.
Good spot there, Brahman. Under a minute to go here in the stanza. Stanford was pitching a shutout, but the forfeit, 1 weight class before this one. We didn't get to see Lorenzo Norman today.
I'm pretty sure we would have won that match.
That's if the advertising is true.
Yeah. Dara wants to get his head out from underneath there. He's been down there for a little while.
He kind of just not plods forward, but he seems comfortable to have his head buried in the chest. And
it was a good attempt at a fireman's carry. Dara dropped his hips at the right time. He needs to pull him down and score right here. He should pull him down and score.
Grabs the elbow.
There's that same
fireman's
same skill. Definitely not getting the guy underneath him, not getting underneath him enough to get his hips up on your shoulders.
I don't know. You'd have to tell me, Brahman, but I almost never see points scored at the Division I level with that particular.
For the fireman's carry?
Yeah.
It is a hard move to get at the college level. I still think it's an excellent move. If you do it right and you have confidence with it, you can get it. But yeah, it's most college wrestlers can kind of feel that coming and can drop their hips.
I mean, it's especially, I guess, visually pleasing when you see heavier guys somehow hit it.
Well, it is a throw.
Yep.
You know, a fireman's carry is a throw. So
Snyder could do it to guys.
My father, his coach in high school, used to and his coach was a heavyweight, he used to say, fireman's is a heavyweight move. Dara doing a good job, staying heavy, getting the weight on the hands. Nice little attempt at a kick over.
Pretty dexterous movements here from Vidichka.
Not bad for a big guy. He doesn't fight. He doesn't bring his head into the fight, though. This guy is constantly getting pushed around because his head's up. And Dara's right at his chin every time with his head, and that's what happens.
It's a very good point. He can spin over the top, he can whirl around, he can beat shots with good whizzers and then good footwork, but from the chest up.
He really can't stop Dara from getting to his legs with his head that high, you know. So wrestling starts and stops with head position.
Plenty of situations where Dara's actually been pretty okay to have his head his eyesight looking down at the mat, and he still turns it into points. So that's a bit of a wrinkle that you don't necessarily see that often.
Well, when you're crowding the man and you're in good position, you got him moving backwards. There's not much he can do to you.
Right. Very first shot of this match, which was perhaps telling, was Dara hitting that single, and his head was pretty low, but he still got decent elevation and turned it into an easy-looking 3 points.
Now, Coach Ayers, their new head coach, he's a bit of a top wrestling guru, and I've noticed that I think every guy has ridden exclusively from the right side for Stanford today.
Yep.
And so I'm wondering if that's something that Coach is doing in the room and emphasizing that.
Yeah. And, certainly, wow, nice. What a return.
Good timing on that ankle grab. Now they're back into that ankle ride.
5 seconds to go.
It's a tough ride. I would have assumed that referees would be calling it stalling more. Almost stuck him there on a shoulder roll. So felt his momentum and stopped it.
Good finish there for Dara. And, Vidichka didn't look bad at all, had a lot of good movements. You mentioned it, the head position, just something to work on in the future, perhaps.
Yeah.
Here's Kinsella and Nick Stemmet. Stemmet, a top 15 guy, as ranked early in the season. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah,
what's going on? We still got one
match,
more.
Yeah.
Sorry. Carry on, brother.
Well, I think this Loper, he probably likes to ankle pick and things like that. Fireman's carry. Just a little bit outclassed here. Right to his back.
Maybe a little bit fatigued, too.
Yep.
That last movement to kind of try to scoop and reach back, you don't necessarily want to do that. Now the crossbody ride. Dara looking to order off the menu.
Well, Carney has a lot of kids that are homegrown Nebraska kids, and like I said, this guy's from David City, which is, I think it's a Class C Nebraska school, high school. So unless he was wrestling on the international or national level, probably didn't see a lot of wrestlers the caliber of Jack Dara.
Yeah,
Dara, he's a Super 32 guy, a Fargo guy, Wyoming Sim guy. So his pedigree is quite a bit better.
At this weight, I mean, at the high school level, how many guys are you going to face, even in special tournaments, that are as filled out as a guy like Jack Dara from a strength perspective and a mobility perspective as well?
Yeah, he's a solid wrestler.
I mean,
and he's getting better.
Jack
really spent, like I said, his summer was excellent. He won some big stuff this summer, and put the time in.
You try to transmit Dara's mobility onto a high school-centric weight class. You're 3 weight classes below.
Right. We're going to finish the duel today with 2 familiar faces, Nick Stemmet and Peter Ming. Nick is ranked he's ranked 13th right now. Forget where he ended the season last year. He was a qualifier to the NCAA tournament. Oh, wow, pin him.
Wow, he could still do it from there. 8 seconds.
Why'd he stop it there? Not sure why he stopped it.
It's kind of a half whistle is what it sounded like.
Well, the pin near fall was imminent there.
5 to go.
All right. Nick coming out. Nick looks huge for 197 right now. Nick's one of the leaders on the team. I'm sure he's spending some time with the new coach, Brucky. Coach Brucky has came over to the Cardinal with Coach Ayers. He wrestled for Princeton. He was a 2-time All-American at 197. He's also a Midlands champion. Brucky is a Chicago guy. Nick Stemmet is a powerful man.
Facing Jackson Kinsella here. Square stance for both. Maybe the lower stance, and now staggered stance for Stemmet. Kinsella answers by lowering the stance, and here in on a single.
Nice.
There's an
nice
easy
finish.
3.
Nice finish. Kinsella's a redshirt sophomore. He's from Creston, Iowa. Also close to Nebraska. Your UNK does a lot of recruiting right out of Iowa and Nebraska. Looking to cut him right away. 3 points, 1 takedown.
Even in the 2-point system, I'd expect to see maybe a similar.
Yeah, when you're dominating,
Yep.
you keep dominating.
Yep. Shoulder push.
Nick likes that elbow off, sort of cross pick action. Where he drives through the opponent's hips.
So kind of with a half shot there. Stemmet almost, yep, wow. Got
Very
to the
nice,
foot.
nice drag.
He's trying to bait the reach, and he finally gets it there. Yeah,
This Carney guy is really being defensive.
Yep. And there's another 3.
He doesn't look like he wants to shoot. His chest isn't in a position to take a shot. He's kind of just
right. You can
going
see it.
Capital D, we say. Capital D for defense.
You can see it because Stemmet was faking and baiting all kinds of things and then finally took a shot, and there wasn't really a reaction to it. So your fakes are always doing something.
But just notice how much higher the Carney wrestler's head is than Stemmet majority of the match. So it's about a half a head higher. It's going to be hard to get in there with that type of positioning.
It's interesting because he at times has a very low stance, but then the upper body from the kind of hip flexor up is pretty perpendicular.
Well, he'll change levels every once in a while, but then he quickly loses his discipline and comes out of his stance.
How's that not? I mean, now it doesn't look like a takedown, but it looked like for a minute there it was.
We got to get control of both ankles.
Just a clinic so far for Nick Stemmet.
Now he's in his stance and he's out of his stance.
Yep. Kind of has to do work to get into this stance rather than that being the default.
If you look, every step is back. Every step is back.
Stemmet faking with the feet, not moving the arms, and then just moving only the arms. Looks for a drag, but it was really just a bluff. And
see, if I was coaching Nick, I would just have him put a lot more pressure on hand fight. Just keep making the guy look bad. He's going to back out of bounds. Let's make him look bad. Let's shoot him out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a potential stall warning already here.
He's going to have to come back to the middle and wrestle. So just make him look bad for a little while.
You make a guy move that far on the mat without actually touching him until you hit the circle. How do you not accomplish at least a stall warning?
Right. This ref hasn't called too many stalling today, though. I don't know if I've seen it.
I mean, I think it was
one or two, maybe.
Not even. Stemmet was doing so much; it was almost kind of mesmerizing from an officiating perspective. Oh, look at all this stuff this one guy's doing. Well, the other guy's not doing anything. What?
I think the only stall call is Jackson Desario on the bottom.
Right. So yeah, you're right. There's been one. 90 seconds to go in the period.
Yeah, he's squared up. Standing high. Yeah.
Just a
Nick can basically pick his shot
from
the guys competing like that.
From the parking lot.
Right.
Took that shot.
Mm-hmm.
The slow-moving drive-through of shots. And it was going to convert to points, I think, every single time. Just a wrestling room shot. Going to let him go, or kind of de facto let him go here with a minute to go, but stay on him.
Nice.
Shot, snap down, in on the
attack.
leg.
Great attack. Big lift.
Lift and dragging him out.
No
and they're off the edge.
No three. No three. Yeah, Nick could have put the brakes on there and dropped to his legs and got that takedown and a little more awareness on the edge. I agree with that call.
Yeah, I agree too, and it was by a couple inches. And, if you look at the circle, it's not quite perfect. But he went to the part of the mat where he had more space, and still head is up in the air. Stemmet's got 20 seconds left to work. 31-6 is the dual score.
He could just work a little harder on clearing his opponent's head-hands defense. The guy's not got his head in the fight, so
T-Rexing.
a little tighter on your setups to get in there. That's the right idea. Needs to work a little harder at it. Nick doesn't feel any danger of losing this match, that's for sure. It's 10-3, and he's got 52 seconds of riding time right now.
Sometimes you see guys who are playing defense a little more. Their hands become a little bit like catch oriented, and we're seeing that here. Just a touch with Jackson Kinsella.
Yeah, it looks like he's avoiding action.
Guys start to T-Rex a little bit.
Little switch attempt.
Great dinosaur, rough from a wrestling perspective.
Well, I mean, actually, we want to be T-Rex. We want to have short arms and hooks
but you don't
when we're wrestling, but we're not like...
you don't want T-Rex hands. You don't want to be
we're not pushing away from action. We want to wrestle. Nice little post.
And the full T-Rex is, in a wrestling perspective, the hands T-Rex okay, but the full T-Rex a little too up and down.
No, agreed.
I don't think, something killed the dinosaurs. It might have been the quality of their knees. We don't know.
Oh, well, don't you give that up. Don't give that up. Yeah,
he's not going
nice
to.
Job. Nice
wow.
Job. Nice job. See, that was a decision there. He could have went down to his knees and just conceded a takedown. Hey, I'm way ahead. But he decided to keep wrestling and not give up that takedown. 13-4 with a minute 23 of riding time now.
He might decide to try to turn this into back point. They're saying get another one.
Yeah, he's got 45 seconds. He should get more practice right here.
He's not looking at. Oh, now he looks over to the bench. They're telling him get another one. He's
got the major decision. So this is all practice.
No ankle ride instead. Looks to maybe suck back. Switches to the left side. Seems like he's just not going to let Kinsella.
I was a little disappointed that he didn't go for that last takedown because it's all conditioning. You're obviously better than this guy on your feet. The coaches wanted that.
Yep.
So that was a decision on his part.
I mean, someone said let him up. I have to assume that was the coaching staff.
I think it was Coach Brucky. There's also something to be said for finishing the mat on top. Finishing the match on top, which he did.
Yep.
Dominant performance. Okay, heavyweight. This heavyweight was actually pretty decent yesterday. I watched him against the San Francisco State heavyweight. Really strong in the underhook position, pretty aggressive. That's a big kid, too. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't think he's skipped leg day. And
Crew Howard.
How old is this kid? 15 years of not skipping leg day. That's my read.
Clarinda, Iowa, which is my good buddy Ryan Isaacson from Clarinda, Iowa. Good, strong wrestling from Clarinda. Crew is a redshirt sophomore.
And his first 3 steps all forward, walks right into the single leg.
Carney has a rich history of some phenomenal big man wrestling. Provo Delagnev was a 2-time national champion for the Lopers. He coaches at the University of Nebraska now. He was a world team member. I believe he's a world placer as well.
Got that USA Wrestling tattoo under the right sleeve, it looks like.
Yeah, he does.
Walked right into a single, but then beat it pretty easily.
This guy might pose a challenge for Peter just because he's so big. There's a nice shot by Peter. Good balance. He's back to a whizzer. Peter needed to get that foot up. Here he goes and run the pipe. Switching head outside, back head inside. Pretty good defense for this big man.
He almost limp-legged out of it twice.
He's trying to get weight down. Oh, he bailed. He bailed on it. He bailed on it.
He tried to fight like hands with the elbow. Just
he was doing an excellent job. He didn't have to give that takedown up.
He almost limp-legged out twice. He didn't look panicked at all. Good defense, but it's still 2 for Ming, who just stayed with the shot.
Let's give Peter credit for staying on that and being dogged about that finish.
Yep. And I mean, there's just no substitute for, Ming's faced guys like Colton Wong like tons of times. It just, the number of insanely tough guys that Ming has hung in there with, there's just no substitute for that.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's a little bit bigger at the heavyweight. His problem has always been he's undersized. Peter has an unbelievable low single, which is not typically a heavyweight skill. But some of the best heavyweights have had low singles. So.
Yep.
Hand control, stand up. Crew Howard, that's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it's a very cool name.
No, I saw him on underhooks yesterday. I haven't seen him really force that underhook yet.
Looks pretty well conditioned. Looking for like a Russian tie.
Not bad, not bad.
Low shot on the inside. That was the attempt.
Both guys got an ear-to-ear collar tie. Hard to score from those positions.
Drew Howard, he's got that.
He's trying to post that far side as Peter pushes away when he takes the Russian tie or the 2-on-1. He wants to pop that up and shoot a double leg.
Ming does a nice job with that head post. Almost immediately when he gives up the hand control, it's as if he's trading pieces or something.
Okay, 3-1, 1 takedown. Carney defers to the Cardinal. Looked like Peter had some indecision on whether he wanted to go down or what. Sometimes when you're wrestling a little bit undersized at a weight class, maybe it's not the smartest move to go down. Good job getting his hips turned away. Almost a reversal there. He's looking to do some grappling skills, some sort of shoulder roll, elevator. Now he's looking Granby. He's got some hip separation. Yeah, he needs to just knee slide and get to his feet.
He's not at all worried about getting turned. He's got complete control of his own feet. Tripods. Gets the angle.
He wants to roll. This guy, Crew, seems like he's got a pretty good gyroscope on top in terms of not letting the guy roll him.
Yeah, Crew Howard was doing a nice job of making Peter Ming carry his weight in various positions from neutral. And now he's perpendicular and.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Yeah, he could.
If Peter's got to get his knees back underneath him and then fight with his back. That's what we say, fight with your back. So you're fighting your back into your opponent. You're not retreating in this position. You have to attack from the bottom.
Howard had that far side half in. 35 seconds left to go.
This is a pretty tough ride here by Crew Howard.
Stall
I
warning.
can see a error starting to get Peter Ming motivated here. There's a roll attempt. Guy's dropping his weight pretty good.
Now he's got the bar.
Yeah, he's giving up the bar arm in the back. Call that a hammer lock. Now I see why he was maybe questioning going down.
Yep. So that'll do it for the period, but really nice effort on top there. And you said it, Brahman. There was a bit of indecision there potentially.
Mm-hmm. Really didn't come close to getting out. No.
Sometimes, when you're actually in there, you can feel the guy's weight. It's like
I'm surprised the Crew didn't go down.
Yeah.
Because a takedown, well, actually now that it's, it's a different, but I'm just thinking about this, right?
Changes everything.
The math, now he doesn't have to go down. One takedown puts him up because it's a 3-point takedown, and now he's up by one. Great decision by the coaching staff to actually go neutral as opposed to go down and let this guy waste some time riding you. It's 4-3 now, and he's racking up more riding time as well.
And you saw, that second had to take so much out of Peter Ming. On the bottom the whole time.
Yeah, he was carrying that weight for a full 2 minutes.
And, Howard just doing a great job. He's on his toes the whole time, floating on top of Ming. There's no moment where he really bears weight on a knee that's on the mat, at all.
This guy's a pretty impressive heavyweight. I'm a little bit surprised he's not ranked in Division II. And Peter's head's down. He's not fighting with his back. There's that roll attempt. Okay, got to be careful here. A little more hip separation and a hip heist there on top. I think he puts Crew on his back.
He's going to try it again. He might get over it here. Needs to beat the hand control.
He's got to put 1-2 moves together. He's kind of going one at a time right now. Now he's flat.
He's got 30 seconds.
It's going to take you 30 seconds to get up from flat.
Get a hand back.
Heavyweight on you, and now you're getting called for stalling on the bottom, and that's a point. That's 3 stalling calls for the match now.
Howard has eyes on a potential turn, but with the score the way it is, he's just gonna ride it out, get perpendicular. His hand control has been fantastic. Man, this is a good-looking wrestler, Crew Howard. If there's something that you can look at as a win for Nebraska Kearney, it's this match here.
Yeah, for sure. He looks good. I'd be surprised not to see him on the podium in March in Division II. That's a 6-3 win or 5-3 win. Okay. Not the way we like to end these matches here. Overall, I thought it was a pretty doggone good performance by the Cardinal.
Really promising look, and the season is bright for Stanford. And Brahman, we don't have the call too many times here this season. This is one half of our broadcast together, and I'm looking forward to the next one in February. But let's just go top to bottom here. Nico Provo looked very good, couple of different looks, some high and some low from a shot perspective. Tyler Knox, you can't say enough about that guy.
Yeah, for sure, Nico looked really good on his feet. I see maturity in his wrestling, and he can get even better. I'm glad he's got his weight under control. Tyler Knox, I think, is going to be a star of the future. If he's that aggressive on a normal basis, man, what a treat to get to watch this kid for 4 years.
We talked a little bit about Jackson Desario maybe having trouble from that crab ride position and letting guys get on top of him, but he did in the end get the W, and it was relatively decisive from a shot versus shot perspective.
I'd be interested to know what Jackson's plan is. Is it to stay up at 41, or is it to go back and continue to challenge for the 133 spot, because that is his natural weight class.
Very good question there. And then the first top 10 guy in the lineup for Stanford was Jaden Abbas. And you mentioned, I think we'd both agree, probably wants to have a little bit of that match back, and maybe a little bit of, not cardio, but whatever he can do to be a little bit more decisive. But in the end, got a very thoughtful win.
Yeah, well, a win is a win, and this is at the college level, so there's not a ton of easy matches.
Yep.
But he did what he had to do to get his hand raised. And I'm sure he's going to go back to the drawing board, and his father's here, and he's going to continue to work.
Daniel another top 10 guy, Daniel Cardenas, got the job done handily against Nick Stoltenberg, and then I thought he looked good too.
Yeah, he tackled me, beat him up, and that was great. That's kind of what we expect from Daniel Cardenas. It would be nice to see Hunter Garvin out there, but Zack Hansen did an unbelievable job stepping in and up a weight class, replacing him, and getting the W. So that was really, really good.
Another very, I guess there's so much to look forward to this year for the Cardinal. One guy we didn't get to see that we were looking forward to was Lorenzo Norman.
Lorenzo Norman, I think the coaches think he's probably the most, if not one of the most talented guys in the program. Quick, explosive stuff that you can't teach, Lorenzo Norman has. So very excited to see this guy compete. We'll see if he stays in red shirt or he comes out and is part of the team this year.
Jack Dara showed a clean single leg and pretty good mobility throughout the duration of his match. He beat Dylan Vidichka. And then Nick Stemmet and Jackson Kinsella had a match that towards the back end, we were thinking Stanford was going to absolutely run away with it, and they more or less did, but Stemmet looked pretty darn reasonable.
I thought Jack Dara is one of the best matches I've seen him wrestle here at Burnham. And then Stemmet does what Stemmet does, and powerful performance. He's going to continue to improve, and I know he's got goals to be on the podium in March.
And then Peter Ming rounding it out, lost to Crew Howard. Crew Howard looked fantastic. I want to say Ming probably, it's hard to predict, but maybe he gets the win if he just chooses neutral in the second. We don't know.
It's possible.
Hard to say.
I think Crew, like you said, he wrestled really, really smart, and that's a good look in Division II heavyweight, and probably their best guy.
Yeah,
probably their best guy.
That third period was all Crew Howard, and it was a lot based on probably just tiring out. Peter Ming mentioned the size difference, and that continues to be a factor.
And we saw that with Jackson Desario as well as Peter Ming. I thought the freshman Zack Hansen did a good job handling the extra weight, but it's a big deal when you're up a weight class. And I think it's psychological too, because you're going, these guys are bigger than me,
Right.
And that can affect you in a lot of ways and make matches closer than they should be. So I think those guys will continue to improve as they increase their conditioning level. It's just going to get better.
An exclamation point win to start the schedule for Stanford under a new coaching staff, 41-0 against Duke. 35-9 is the final here today against Nebraska Kearney at Burnham Pavilion. The Cliff Keen Invitational is up next for Stanford. That kicks off December. And then Virginia Tech for a duel and the Campbell duels all on the road. We won't see Stanford back here until after the scuffle. That's in January. That's going to be a televised duel against Missouri. And then Little Rock on the 28th is also back here at at Maples. So Little Rock and Missouri both at Maples Pavilion, just across the way where they have basketball, volleyball, etc. That's it here from Burnham. Brahman, anything to add before we take off?
I just want to tell the fans there's one coming up on January 10th. That's versus Missouri. That's one to circle. It's 6 p.m. here at Burnham, and they got a stud over there at 165 for Missouri that I would want to see wrestle in person. So
we won't be on the call, but I'll see you here.
It's gonna be a great match.
If you can bring
I'll be here.
Bring the kids. Bring everyone.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Thanks so much. For Brahman Creighton, my name is Chris Fitzgerald. For Ethan Cardoza and everyone involved in this broadcast, the Desandre's back. We say goodbye from Burnham Pavilion. Stanford gets the nod, 35-9, the dual score.